Hello, I'm Duck, and I want to teach you how to create a basic map. It's pretty much easy. I want to try to make this as easy as possible. As I told you in the last tutorial how to pretty much move your camera view and your 3D perspective view, the more you work with it, the more pre-natured you will become. Okay, you see my wired view, hold down the space bar, I can move this around, etc. Scroll your mouse wheel in and out. Okay, right now I'm going to create the base floor. Okay, as you can see I have my list of tools here. I'm going to click on block tool. Shift B is the shortcut key, and I'll go over here and I'll browse for textures. I'll click on browse and I'll type in floor. I have a different list of floor textures that come up, and I'm going to choose this one. As a player, unit size is 72 inches, which is 6 foot. So let's see if I make this out 100 or 1024 units, but 1024 units, that's pretty big. Okay, it's not big, but it's big. Put it that way. Okay, let's say okay, this will be my floor. Now I can either add walls by either doing this. I would resize how I'd want my walls. See, this is my top view and these are my side views, and I'd resize my wall to where I would want it. Or I can do this a different way. I can drag this up to where I would want it. See, I got a giant cube right here, and I'll hold on Control H, which is a hollow, make hollow button, or the short key, or you can right click your object and go to make hollow, which you see the shortcut key is Control H. So I click on here, and it'll ask me, it says how thick do you want the walls. Use a negative number to hollow outward. So that means it'll be hollow inside, but the walls will hollow outward. So I'm gonna make this a negative, let's say 30 or something. Click OK. You see I got it. It's hollowed now. See how I have these white lines? It means inside right now is hollow. So that means I got the bottom, the top, and floors right here, or the walls I mean. Okay. Now I want to create spawn points, which is the entities that I'm going to use. Okay, so I'd click on this entity tool, which is the shortcut key is Shift E, and as you can see I have the categories over here, which highlights up whenever I click the entity tool. And for objects, I would want to type in info, or info, like this, info underscore button, type in player. You can see it kind of highlights for me, counter-terrorist, like that. So I don't have to worry about typing anymore. As you can see, I'm scrolling around in my 3D view. I can either place this in two different ways. I would have the entity tool selected, info player counter-terrorist selected, and in a 3D view I'd click on somewhere where I'd want to place this player. So I'd click right here. See, it pretty much loads a little spawn point icon like that. Or I can click in this map view. I'll click on one of the grids like that, and click on create object, and you see he's floating there. That's alright, because whenever he spawns he's going to just drop down like that. You don't want your player to be touching the ground like this, because then he won't spawn. There's a reason for that, but I don't know why. But for right now, whichever you see the player's facing this way, you can have him like move where he looks like he's looking that way or something like that. Because I'm not sure if you want somebody to be looking in the wall like that whenever they first spawn, but they can move around. It doesn't really matter. Okay. So for your character counter-terrorist spawn entity, you'd use info player counter-terrorist, or info. Okay. So I'd click out here. For each person that joins a game, you would need more than one counter-terrorist spawn point. Like if you have, let's say I got 3, 6, 7 people that will join a game, each 7 people would take up one of these spots. So you see I'm selecting more by holding down the Control T, or the Control button, and see they're all selected. And I'd have to raise them up just a little bit like that, a little bit off the ground, because they can't be touching the ground or else they won't spawn. Okay, that's for my counter-terrorist. So now I'm going to add my terrorist side. So I'm going to select this entity tool, or Shift E. See this highlights up over here. I want to type in info underscore player terrorist. You see it already highlights for me, so I ain't going to worry about typing the rest in. Okay, so I'm just going to click in my 3D view like this. Okay, click on the selection tool right here, and I can select more than one of these guys by holding down the control button like this. Oops, and just move them up just a little bit like that, where they're not even touching the ground. Okay, now we have our spawn points done. Now we want to add a buy zone for your person to buy their items and stuff, etc. So what the buy zone is processed off by a trigger texture, which the textures will be found using this block tool, and you would be able to resize your however big you want your buy zone to be. Okay, I'm going to select the block tool, browse for textures, type in trigger in the filter, and I have two different trigger entities that I can use, and I want to use tools trigger. Okay, now since I have this selected, I'm going right now create the trigger buy zone for these terrorists over here. So make sure the block tool is selected. Okay, I'll go over to the part where my terrorists are set out, and I would resize to how big I'd want my buy zone to be. And your buy zone does have to be touching the ground or touching on a surface, so that way they can actually buy something. So I'd right click, create object. As you can see, it's a little bit transparent to the ground, which is alright. Your trigger will not be showing into the map like this. It'll be completely invisible like that. But for right now, I'd want the buy. Okay, now I'm going to make sure this is selected using the selection tool, and I want to tie to entity. What this means, I'm going to add a entity for this texture trigger to be optional, like a function buy zone. You can either do this in two ways: right click, tie to entity, or hold down the control button and hit T, which is tied to entity. And you see I have an entity window pop up. I have different tabs that I would use. For this class, which would be the entity that I'm going to use, I'm going to type in trigger, which is a group of triggers that you can use. I'm going to type this trigger. Oh crap. Oh, hold on. For the buy zone, it has to be a function, because triggers are different, like a trigger teleport, trigger hurt. Those are different. This will be a function buy zone. It counts as a function. Sorry. So I type in func buy zone like that. Click apply. This right now would be a buy zone. However, I need to make the buy zone only admit to the terrorists if they walk into it. So I'm going to click on team number int, click this little drop down button, and click on terrorist. Then I'll click apply like that, and hit cancel. This right now is a buy zone for this terrorist, and the counter terrorist cannot buy off of this zone right here. Now I'm going to create the other side for this counter terrorist. Of course, I can pretty much just copy and paste this and then change the key values, or you can resize it out of how big you want it. For right now, I'm just going to copy and paste. So I'd hold down the shift key, left mouse click, and drag it to where I want it to go. Release the left mouse button and release the shift key like that. Now it's been copy and paste. Now I need to change the key values of it. Of course, you can you'd have to go to its properties, because if you tie to entity again, it'll ask you if you want to recreate a new entity, which means it asks you if you want to re-edit this. Of course, you don't want to. So you'd want to hit Alt Enter, or you can right click and go to properties. Okay, because I've copied and pasted this entity, which is a function buy zone. For the team number int, I'm going to click on counter terrorist like that and click apply. Now this buy zone only emits for counter terrorists to walk into it. Now to a quick save, like if you're in a map and stuff and you don't feel like going to file and save, just hit down Control and S. Control S is a shortcut key to save. See, I have my buy zone for both teams, spawn points. Now to add the lighting. if you don't put any lighting into your map, I believe whenever you run your game, there's a console command called mat full-bright 1, which is a SV cheat. It pretty much lights up the whole entire map. Okay, right now I'm just going to click on this entity tool, and I'm going to type in for objects, type in light. Okay, there's a different lights entities that you can use. I believe there's 1, 2, 3, 4 different light objects that you can use. To add a environmental light, such as, like, you know what a sun gives off, it gives off its shadows and etc. It's ambient. I would want to click on light environment, and I can pretty much resize this or relocate it in the 3D view, or I can click out in the map or in the wireframe view like this. I'd right click and create object. As you can see right there, it has like a little sun, which is the pretty much what I've been telling you about what the sun gives off, such as shadows, etc. This right here, you want to go to properties. You can hold down Alt Enter or double click in the 3D view, or right click and go to properties like that. As you can see, I have a different list of key values of what this entity withholds. Okay, I have where it's okay, we don't really need to worry about that right now, because it pretty much, well, you can like shine in different areas and stuff. You can make it look up, make it look down, the sun or wherever, however you want it to shine. Okay, and you can pick your sun brightness. You go to pick color. You see I have a different list of colors here. I can even make my sun look green if I wanted to, but for right now I'm just gonna click on this like orangish, make it a little bit lighter, bring a little bit more yellow to it like that. Click OK. I'll click apply. Then I'll click on this ambient, which is I believe a secondary color what the sun would give off, and I'll make it more of a lightish gray. I'll click OK and click apply like that. Now we have our light environment fixed up. We're now to give off little shadows and stuff. Okay, this is a closed-in arena anyways, but there are different ways where like, let's say if I want to add a sky to it. So I'm just going to delete this, resize all of these, where it goes down just a little bit. The light environment's pretty much fine for right now. I'm going to add what's called a tool skybox, which gives your the map its sky, and it can hold everything into your map where it won't leak out either. Okay, to be able to do this, I want to click on the block tool. Of course, this is sky, but this is pretty much a basic skybox. I want to type in tools in the filter. So you have a different list of tool textures that's been scripted. I want to type in, or I want to double click on this one, tool skybox. I have the skybox selected, and I'd want to outline my whole entire everything, so that way the skybox can be held inside the or everything be held inside the skybox like that. Or I can just pretty much make a top up here, but I just want to go ahead and create where to keep everything inside. Okay, with this being selected, I want to make this hollow, because if you have a skybox that completely covers everything like this, it won't work. You want your skybox to have edges and stuff where it'll actually show up in your map. So I want to hold down Control H to make it hollow. As you can see, it asks you to use a negative number to hollow outward. I have negative 30 still there, so I want to click OK. And it pretty much hollows everything out. As you can see inside here, I have my skybox finished. And I have my light environment up here, which is shining down just like a sun will. Of course, you want more of a basic arena here. You don't want them to just start killing each other, so you can pretty much edit that around too. There's also a way to put your own weapons in the game, and you can add ammo to them also, and I'll show you how to do that. The weapons are an entity tool. So for the objects, I want to type in weapon. So you have a different list of weapons here I can put in. I want to put in an op, or you can pretty much put in C4 also, AUGs, AK-47s, etc. But first I want to put in an op, and I want to put it in the area out here, say in the middle, and I'm going to resize that up just a little bit where it won't just be laying on the ground, stick it straight up. so that way whenever it falls it actually lay down. Okay, right now this is a scripted entity front up. I want to double click on this or right click, go to properties. Okay, this is the object properties, the weapon up. Now to be able to add ammo, you'd have to add another key value, which you would have to take up the smart edit button. And you see I have the key values angle. For right now I want to click on add a key value. And for the key I want to type in ammo, A-M-M-O. Hit the tab key, pretty much highlights the value and how much ammo I want to give it. I want to give it 30 rounds, which is I believe 3 clips. I'll click apply. So this pretty much up has 30 rounds of ammo. I'll click on the smart edit button again, click apply, click cancel. However, this is I believe a problem in the map, but it'll like if I hit Alt P, which is check for problems. See, has a entity weapon up, has an unused key value ammo. It's not really an unused key value, it just gives your weapon ammo, so you don't need to worry about that. Hit Control S for save. So that's how you add different guns and ammo to them, and that's it.